Something huge is starting to brew in Seattle. The Seahawks have just lost their Super Bowl MVP running back, leaving a massive hole in our offense. And with many of the top free agents already signing to other teams around the league, Seattle's options are starting to disappear. But now, a few big names are beginning to surface as potential replacements. Today, we are breaking down who those players are and what it would take to get them to Seattle, because this move will no doubt reshape our entire offense next year. What's up, everyone? Kyle Guerrero here, your host of Seahawks Digest. We bring you everything Seattle Seahawks news-related, rumor-related, and report-related as it is happening in real time. And yes, we have just lost Kenneth Walker to an absolutely huge contract. I think it was 3 years, $45 million to the Kansas City Chiefs. So now the Seahawks are without a running back. Of course, we do have Zach Charbonnet, but he just underwent knee surgery a few weeks ago, and his timeline doesn't look like he will be a fully 100% ready to go until about mid-season. We also have George Holani back and a guy in Kenny McIntosh who is mainly a practice squad player. So we need a guy for week one and to lead us to at least Zach Charbonnet gets back and he gets to be about 100%. Over the last few weeks, there were rumors that we were going to target guys like Travis Etienne from Jacksonville, Rico Dowdle, or even Tyler Algier. And of course, all of those guys have been scooped up off the market within the first day, leaving the Seahawks with not many options to go with. But there are a few big names that have started to come up even as recently as today that the Seahawks are being linked to and keeping an eye on. In this video today, we are going to break down who those players are and what it would take for the Seahawks to go out and get them to replace K9's volume and have a guy for week one once the season starts. So let's dive right in. But before we get started, we're on the road to 700 subscribers. Look how close we are right now. So if you're not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button already. This is a brand new channel that is going to be keeping you up to date with all the latest Seahawk content as is happening in real time. So yeah, let's dive right in. Our first name on this list is former Tampa Bay Buccaneers running back Rachaad White. Mike Giafolo mentions that the Seahawks are one of the teams monitoring the market for Bucks running back Rachaad White. And this is really interesting because Rachaad White is in that estimated $4 million to $5 million a year range. He's coming off of splitting his workload in the Tampa Bay backfield with Bucky Irving, and he had a solid year. Let's take a look at his stats. He rushed for 572 yards on the ground, rushing for about 4.33 yards per carry, which is interesting because K9 only rushed for 4.6. And it is debatable who had the better O-line. Rachaad White is obviously a much better pass catcher than Kenneth Walker, but he did not have the volume that he had in years past this prior season. He's a guy I could see the Seahawks going out and getting for about $3 to $5 million on a one-year kind of prove-it deal. He would come in and basically be our lead back until Zach Charbonnet is back and fully healthy. And this would be a year for Rachaad White to really prove to the rest of the league that he is a good starting running back and get a bigger contract next offseason. So interesting name in Rachaad White. Let's keep moving. The next name up here is Saints running back Alvin Kamara. And with the Saints reaching an agreement today with running back Travis Etienne, there are now questions around the league about whether Alvin Kamara will be moving on from the New Orleans Saints and whether the Saints would be willing to trade him. Teams are tracking and wondering about it, which this is very interesting. Kamara is obviously a 9-year veteran, and he has been one of the top running backs in the league since the beginning of his career. What's interesting about Kamara is he is, again, more of a pass-catching back, and he does half of his work in the air. He's actually never even rushed for 1,000 yards on the ground in any of his previous seasons. But he's a guy that could be interesting for the Seahawks to go out and get. It is worth noting that he is still under contract, so the Seahawks would have to go out and have a trade package ready to go and get him. And I don't know exactly what the trade package could look like, maybe a third, fourth, fifth rounder, hopefully something in there. But the biggest piece here is we would have to take on Alvin Kamara's cap hit. And next season his cap hit is just about $10 million, which I already know the Seahawks are not really looking to do, especially, we were looking to get Kenneth Walker for around that $10 million a year range. But now who knows if we would be willing to go out there and get Kamara with that. It is also worth noting when Kamara's name was going around in trade rumors around the trade deadline, he said he was going to retire if he got traded to somewhere he didn't want to go. So who knows if he would actually do that, but worth monitoring for sure, although I don't think this is going to be a guy the Seahawks go out and get. Moving on to our third and final guy that we are going to be reviewing here today is the Miami Dolphins running back Devon Achane, who is an absolute speedster. And the Dolphins have not been good over the last few years, but they have just gone out and got Malik Willis at running back or at quarterback, who is going to be a dual threat that might open the running room a little bit more for Devon Achane so he can get more lanes because teams are going to have to look out for Malik Willis. But there's also a possibility that Achane could be on the market for the right price. The Seahawks need a running back. The Dolphins need a lot. Should Seattle and Miami make this trade to send Devon Achane to the Emerald City? And the deal is essentially a second round and a sixth round for Devon Achane. It's worth noting Devon Achane is in his last year of his rookie deal. I think his cap hit is about $1 million, which is something us Seahawk fans and especially John Schneider love. But with a star running back like this in the last year of his rookie deal, he could hold out to really want that extension. And that extension could be north of $16 million, even more than what Kenneth Walker went for. It's also worth noting that Devon Achane has even more of an injury history than Kenneth Walker. Devon Achane was actually a guy the Seahawks were targeting around the trade deadline. This was a trade I really wanted us to pull trigger on because I wasn't sure how Kenneth Walker was going to be down the stretch for us. But it basically looked like Reek Woolen, maybe a draft pick for Devon Achane. If you guys could rewind back to the trade deadline, is this a move you would have made, or would you even be willing to pull trigger on this trade for Devon Achane now? What no one is talking about right now is that John Schneider just does not want to pay money for a running back. And I don't see the Seahawks spending more than $5 million on a one-year deal for maybe a veteran. Other than that, it could be some draft capital that we go for. But any of these big names out there that we would have to trade for or extend right away for money north of even $8 million a year, I just don't see it happening with John Schneider's pass and just kind of how he's been moving around this running back market right now. Here's a few insiders around the NFL and what they think the Seahawks are doing in regards to running backs right now. Corbin Smith looking for a one-year deal in the running back market right now. Brady Henderson. It would make a lot of sense to pair a veteran with a rookie. And we are also monitoring the Rachaad White market. Let's take a look at what running back contracts have went for in free agency here so far. Obviously, Etienne and Kenneth Walker, the 1 and 2 there right at the top, getting those longer year deals around $13-14 million. And then even down there a little bit more, Dowdle and Algier. And I'm surprised the Seahawks didn't make a move for Dowdle, maybe a 2-year 12. Same with Algier, getting those guys for about $6 million a year. Surprising we weren't in the run for those guys a little bit more. Taking a look at some of the veterans that are still out there on the market, there is Joe Mixon, there's Najee Harris, there's Nick Chubb, who is a guy all offseason I've been saying I'm really interested in seeing the Seahawks make a run for. A.J. Dillon, of course, Rachaad White at the bottom there, and also Brian Robinson. Taking a look at all the names we have gone through so far, who would you like the Seahawks to make a run for, to be our RB1 to start the season next year? Is it Kamara? Is it White? Is it Achane? Is it another? And me personally, I would love to see Devon Achane. Could you imagine his speed with Rashid Shaheed doing this thing up the wing as well? We could go for 80, 90-yard touchdowns really at any time, having JSN work the inside, and then a bruising back like Charbonnet really pick up those second and third yard gains that we just really need. It would be absolutely electric. Do I see it happening? No. My honest opinion here is that the Seahawks are going to go and sign someone like Rachaad White or maybe a Brian Robinson, maybe a Nick Chubb, and then we're going to pick up someone in the draft, which whatever round that is going to be around. And then kind of once the season starts, we'll have maybe one or two of those guys, and then Charbonnet will be back mid-season, and Holani will be ready to go week 1 as well. So not the most exciting prediction here for me, but if I know anything about from being a Seahawk fan over the last few years, we just need to expect that out of John Schneider. He is not going to do the prettiest, most glamorous move, but he is going to do what is best for the organization and putting us in the best position to win next season. That's going to do it for this episode of Seahawk Digest. Please, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, as we are going to be bringing you Seahawk content all off-season long. And we're going to keep you up to news with all the latest free agency and off-season moves that the Seahawks are making. Until next time, go Hawks.